In today's video, you're going to learn how to identify the most common and annoying narcissists that you will find in the workplace. Let's start out with the overt narcissist. They don't have coworkers. They have servants. They don't have social interactions. They have competitions. That is how an overt narcissist sees people. I don't want to make it about you and me. The trick is, I want to use the passive voice. To learn more about the passive voice and how to use that, check out some of my previous lessons. But if I say anything that can be interpreted as a competition, you aren't important to me. Well, that's about you and me. I want to say things such as, it is of zero importance who was right and who was wrong. It is of no consequence who wins. It is irrelevant how the problem was caused. Who is at fault will have zero impact on this meeting, this team, or this organization. This is about solutions. It's not about you, it's not about me. So really, who caused a problem? Who got us here to begin with? Whose fault is it? It is irrelevant. It is of no consequence. What I need to let them know sometimes is, right here, I'm 100% committed to and engaged with this meeting so that we can find solutions to the task at hand. That said, whether or not we are friends should have no impact on this meeting. We are not, but that's of no consequence here. How you feel about that is irrelevant. Do we understand one another? The narcissist will try to dictate to you what the narrative is, what you will be thinking and talking about. Do not let them do that. You have a narrative. You have an agenda. Stick to it. Let's stick to the task at hand. Let's remain focused. Remember your phrases such as, that may be but, and then the broken record.
But it's Charlie's fault that we got here.
Well, that may be, but it is irrelevant to me and to this organization and to this meeting, how we got here. We're here to find solutions. So that said, Charlie, what were you saying? Now that's not going to be fun for them. If they try to keep pushing a narcissistic agenda on you and you keep telling them, oh, it's irrelevant to me how we came to this position. The only thing I'm concerned with is how we're getting out of it. If you keep setting those boundaries, it will be very unfun for them to be around you, but you will not have picked a fight with them. You're not saying things like, hey, narcissist, why don't you knock off the toxic attitude and try to be more of a decent human being for once? I'm not saying that. I don't want to pick a fight with you. It's not your fault that you are a narcissist. You probably would not choose to have this disorder that makes you so distasteful. But I've got to know how to read this hand. So I'm trying to read it. And if you keep pushing it, I might need to spell it out a little bit more. I might need to say something such as, John, would you tell me how talking about that, what you're discussing, is contributing to the well-being or the success of this organization? Or I might want to use a tag question and try to force you to admit what you're doing. It sounds something like this. John, when you're talking about Mark and he's not in the room to defend himself, that's the definition of gossip, isn't it? Tootsie, when you're talking about Trixie and she's not here to defend herself, that's what we would call backstabbing, isn't it? I want to get you to recognize what you're doing, if at all possible. And one of my favorite things to do with a narcissist, if it really gets pushed to the point where you need to pull out the big guns. Remember, they think everyone is beneath them. Everyone is here to serve them. If you really need to get under their skin so that they don't want to be around you anymore, pity them. John, wait a minute. You're talking about Mark and he's not even here to defend himself. That's incredibly poor form, isn't it? It's like saying to somebody, you have a big, long piece of toilet paper hanging from your high heel. I just thought I'd let you know. It's just between us. And you're embarrassed for them.
A word of warning.
Beware the arrogant, because arrogant people will betray you. If you're dealing with somebody who's arrogant, it could be someone that you're in a relationship with, a romantic relationship. If you think to yourself, they are a little bit arrogant, but it's something I kind of like about them. Really? Well, if you like to be betrayed, then you're all set. Because if somebody is arrogant, here's the problem with that. Self-confidence, which is generally a wonderful thing, is suddenly an insidious, destructive thing. Because remember, to be confident in something is to know the truth of it. When you are confident about your ideas, your thoughts, your opinions, you know the truth. Self-confidence, to have self-confidence means to know the truth about yourself. Narcissists and arrogant people are incapable of doing that. They're like dogs when they look into the mirror. We're not exactly sure what they're seeing, but they're not seeing their true self. That's the way it is. Now, I guess roosters, maybe they can, but a narcissist cannot. Therefore, when they look at us, there's no way they can see the true version of us. There's no way. It is an impossibility that somebody could see the truth of who we are if they can't see the truth of who they are first. That's dangerous. Number two, the covert narcissist. they're a little bit more difficult to recognize. They're going to be more passive aggressive. They won't come right out and tell you how important they are. They'll try to get you sucked into their drama by saying things such as,
I don't really mind being the only one who can do these things. I don't mind, so I'll do them. But sometimes it just gets a little bit hard being the one who's always finishing everybody else's work.
they play the victim card as they bond with you so that they can later sabotage you. And it's confusing. They gaslight us. We are hurt by them because we don't understand what's going on or how they could treat us this way. We never will understand. We can't think like psychopaths. Not that every narcissist is a psychopath, but I can't think like people who have personality disorders that I do not have. So the sooner I can recognize it and set boundaries and say, oh, I get it now. I get it. You're not coming any closer into my world, the better. So let's talk about how to do that. Then we're going to get into the third narcissist, the Boowbert. The covert narcissist, one of their big things is they want to get you alone. They want to bond with you. They try to suck you into their web little by little. They try to get you to understand them. They have to have little talks with you. They'll come into your space and be like, do you have a minute? Can I talk to you about something? With them, you want to use I statements all the time. This is not about them. It's about you. You know, I'm not comfortable being alone with anyone at work, ever. I'm sure you can respect that. So if there's something you'd like to talk about, unless someone else can be present, I can't have that conversation with you. Ever. That will eliminate the possibility of 99% of the conversations that they wanted to have with you, because covert narcissists love to get you alone so that they can divide and conquer. If you set boundaries that know you will not be alone with them, there you go. Now, if they see that you are alone with other people and they say something like,
I thought you're never alone with anybody.
You can always say, that's true. I'm not comfortable being alone with anybody.
Well, you were just alone with them.
I was.
Well, I thought you're not comfortable with that.
I'm not comfortable being alone with anybody.
You were just alone with them.
I was.
Well, what?
I'm not comfortable with that. I don't have to explain to you. You want to use I statements all the time. For example, if they start in a group setting talking about somebody else. Excuse me, I'm not comfortable with gossip. I'm not comfortable with this topic. I don't engage in that type of conversation. I need some personal space. I prefer to work on this by myself. I don't want to make it about you and me. You and I are irrelevant here. We don't have a relationship. There's nothing to talk about because there's no relationship. The sooner I can clarify that, the better. And when they say things like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, was there some hidden message in what you said?
No.
Well, then you should know exactly what I'm talking about because I know what you said and I know what you meant. Okay, don't expect them to ever change. Don't expect them to respect you. Don't expect them to think of you as an equal. They cannot do that because in that arena, in the arena of love, compassion, equality, they have been disqualified. Before you ever got there, they were disqualified. They're not able to do that. So don't expect them to, and instead set boundaries as soon as you can to let them know, nope, this is as far as you get, dangerous person. So when they come into your office and say things like, do you have a minute? I do not have free time. If I had free time, I would be at home. So if I'm here, I already have something on my agenda. So if it is about the task at hand, if it's about the project we're working on, I can have a minute to talk to you about it. Is it? If it's not, I don't. Is it? Is it about this issue? Is it about this topic? Is it about work? Or is it about a personal relationship issue? You want to be very clear to the covert narcissist. I'm not here to have personal relationships. I don't do that. So remember, with the overt narcissist, you want to use passive voice. It is without consequence. It's irrelevant. With the covert narcissist, I don't engage in that. I need some space. I don't have personal relationships. I'm not comfortable being alone with anybody. Remember, you will never be on the same level as a narcissist. You will never be important to them. They will never choose you. And that's one of the challenges that we face is a lot of us, we get involved with these people because we are normal people and do not suffer from some psychosis, or we are not psychopaths. And so we believe other people are not either. We start to get involved with them in relationships and it's confusing. They gaslight us. We are hurt by them because we don't understand what's going on or how they could treat us this way. We never will understand. We can't think like psychopaths. And I have to know how they see things so that I can set boundaries and work within those parameters and not become one of your servants. And more than anything else, not get so wrapped up, sucked in to your world that I start to take you home with me. Because when we're dealing with these narcissistic types or when we're dealing with difficult people in general at work, when people get to the point where they come to me for help, What's happened is they are carrying those narcissists, those difficult people around with them all day. They're eating dinner with them. They're sleeping in bed with them. We're in bed with our lover and the narcissist, having some type of subconscious sick trio. You know, how about instead of doing that, we let them naturally fall away. We don't give them importance in our life. They disappear. And then when we are in bed with our lover, we're 100% present. How about that? How about that? So we have to recognize you're always going to be the narcissist. I, however, do not need to take you home with me. But to do that, I have to have a sense of I'm in control of every relationship in my life. I'm not saying to control them. I have to control this relationship. I'm the one who decides what this relationship is, where it's going, how deeply involved I am in it. I decide all of that. Now, the Boowbert narcissist is known for their caricature appearance, meaning they are so out of touch with other people because they don't care about other people and don't invest in getting to know other people. They might have an agenda, so they want to get on the PTA, the Parent Teachers Administrative Board, whatever it is. So they go to those meetings and they wear a big Betty Crocker apron. They might carry around a mug that says World's Best Mom, and they'll think that that's what a parent who wants to be on the PTA looks like. So they're putting on a show, hoping, I hope I'm playing the right part. They might be carrying around a notepad and pen, but if you look at what they're actually writing, they're writing things like, their name and then the last name of their secret crush. They don't really know. They're always telltale signs that they're just trying to play a part and that they're a phony. For example, let's look at one of these congresswomen. Oh, that's a good example. Okay. Let's take a look at her. There are always going to be telltale signs. You can't hide it all. Nobody can have a perfect costume. So when I was looking at, for example, this picture of Congresswoman Boowbert, I was looking at it thinking this pose, where have I seen it before? Hooters. And I started to investigate. Hooters girl. Found out Boowbert has a restaurant. It's called Shooter's Grill, where they pose just like Hooters girls. Even when she tries to be a waitress, she thinks they're supposed to look like Hooters girls, so she poses like a Hooters girl. And when she goes, for example, to a gun convention, here's at the gun convention. Boowbert goes to a gun convention in pageant hair and a smoky eye. A smoky eye and pageant hair? Those two tells, for example, give away the fact that she's really not one of them. She's a phony. We can tell that because of the tells. She doesn't know what type of hair to wear. She doesn't know what is appropriate or inappropriate or pageant makeup. So she does the best she can with what she's got. But again, if you look at her paper and look really closely, all she's got written in that notebook is her name and the last name of her secret crush over and over and over again. Lauren Hitler, with little hearts, kissy faces. But that is the easiest type of narcissist to deal with. All you do with a Boowbert narcissist is totally ignore them. They will expose themselves because they tend to be total idiots. And you don't need to do a thing.
And allow public urination.
Just let them be. Be kind with them. Be compassionate.
Public urination.
And know how to recognize them along with the other
Public
types.
urination.
Remember to use your phrases. Remember to know the difference
Public
between the passive
urination.
voice, the active voice. Know what a tag question is. Know how to identify people and speak their language.
Public
and you
urination.
will see them fall away. Because if you
Public
are carrying
urination.
around these narcissists with you, chances are they're just
Public
a 5
urination.
or below to begin with. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out some of my other videos. It's time to release them. Learn the lesson, send them back, and you're done. Then you can focus
Public
on being a
urination.
more loving, compassionate communicator. Because there's nothing that you can say, even to one of these narcissists, that you can't say in a loving way. And to learn more tactics like this, check out this video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and go to my website for some of my premium resources, okay? I'll see you in there.